but he was a Democrat. He was pushed by the DCCC to run for office as a Democrat in 2010 or 2012. Obama personally reached out to him. He was an Obama's big Obama supporter in 2008. He switched parties right before running for governor. The investigation that you're thinking of, by the way, that someone just commented on, was the investigation into fraud within his campaign. He was not found guilty of any fraud, though his campaign was. They said that he didn't know anything about it. This is not to do with the fraud allegation. It is verified that he was a Democrat. It was verified that he was being asked to run for Congress against Luca Meyer. It was verified he was a big Obama supporter when Obama was running for office, and that he switched parties right before running for governor. Because remember back in 2010, 2012, the Democrats were looking for military Democrats to run in Republican districts as a way to win over Republican support. The thing about the mistress, by the way, I don't care what Jack Posobiec said; it's the truth. The thing about the mistress was true. He did have a mistress. She did make several allegations, and Josh Hawley, who was the AG at the time, said the allegations were credible, that he did credibly intimidate her, and his wife left him right after they came out. So I have a very difficult time. There's a lot of issues going on. I will say behind the scenes, but no one really knows unless you work in my world. He is offering a shit ton of money to consultants to work for him right now. I know many people who've been offered hefty 5-figure a month deals to work for him, because people are both hesitant to work for him. Thank you, whoever said you have no idea how much I stand the two of you. People have no idea I stand you two. People have no idea how much money he's offering people right now. He's offering people a lot of money to work for him because he's very difficult to work for, and because he has so much negative stuff in his background. And he was a Democrat until literally the moment he ran for office. So he wasn't a governor. I don't blame him for not accomplishing much as governor. He wasn't a governor for a very long time. But he is somebody who, the minute he was governor, he was leaking out press stories that he was going to be the first Jewish president. Like the minute he became governor. So he's always had his eye on national ambition. And there's something wrong with people who constantly need to run for office to do that, to elevate themselves. I don't trust him at all. I know, and also we're all talking about a lot of these races about who's going to run for this seat or that seat, Pennsylvania or Ohio or wherever, or Missouri. The deck isn't full yet. There's a lot of people waiting to announce, and a lot of candidates I know who are building their teams right now and preparing to run. So I don't think we should throw our hat in with anybody because they make a decent campaign commercial. There are certain words, there are certain things that you should ask a candidate, if you ever come across them, by the way, that plays their card out immediately. Ask a candidate, if you ever get to speak to one who's running for a higher office and you're a voter in the district, ask them a question like, how many legal immigrants should America bring in every year? Just give me a number. More than 1 million, under 1 million, under 500,000, under 250,000. Give me a number. Because the minute somebody sits there and does 400 commercials of saying that they love Trump, they're so MAGA, they love his voters, and they can't answer that question, it means they're lying to you. Right. And there's other questions like that. Steve Bannon loves him. I respect Stephen more. Yes, he does. He likes Greitens and he likes Jane Timken. Jane Timken, who sabotaged every pro-Trump MAGA candidate in the state of Ohio during her entire time of being chairwoman of the Ohio GOP. Her company gets paid $40 million a year by the Chinese Communist Party, directly by the CCP to build windmills in China. Yes, that Jane Timken. Yes, he loves her and he loves Eric Greitens. And I'm telling you right now, they're both terrible. I'm not selling you fish oil pills or anything like that.
Timken, you're right. Like, it's funny because in Ohio, Timken's actually notorious for this. She's notorious for working behind the scenes to kill good candidacies.
I worked for Christina Hagem, who was the most based MAGA candidate possibly running in 2018 in the whole country. We ran against Pedro Gonzalez in the Republican primary. Anthony Gonzalez. Sorry, not Pedro Gonzalez. You're Pedro Gonzalez. Anthony Gonzalez.
He's cute.
No relation. Giant slip there. Both from Ohio, though. But I ran against Anthony Gonzalez. We ran the campaign against Anthony Gonzalez. Anthony Gonzalez, the chamber, all of the papers, the local papers that are dependent for Timken advertising, the Chamber of Commerce, the Institutional Republican Party were working against us and working for Gonzalez every single step of the way, all orchestrated by Jane Timken. Jane had a bullseye in Christina's back, and Christina was by far not only a better candidate in a safe Republican seat who could have won, not controversial. She would have won. The only controversial was she's super pro-life. Mother of three, state legislator, passed the Harvey bill, who was educated on immigration and on the issues that we care about so much. She would have been a great congresswoman, but the thumb was against the scale. They outspent us like 6 or 7 to 1, and he ended up winning with 51% of the vote on election, 52% of the vote, whatever it was on election day, and then he voted to impeach Trump. People like him were not just members of Congress. Ryan, do political songs use the word based? Whatever. Sorry, I'm trying to answer questions.
Question.
But yeah, that's a tough question. But anyway, I use the term based. But today I was talking to a consultant friend of mine, and we said this person's so Chad, and they were like, "Is Chad a good thing or a bad thing?" I'm like, no, it's a good thing now. In the '90s, when you were young, it was a bad thing, but now it's a good thing. But people like Anthony Gonzalez were created because of Jane Timken. Yeah. And Greitens, Timken, all of these people, they are lying to voters because they know there is a huge portion of the base that wants Trump-like people elected office, or if not exactly like Trump, but nicer on Twitter. So they're willing to sit there and do anything or support anybody, and they're generally very nice people, and they're not super politically involved. I'm telling you the truth. I'm not selling you anything. You don't have to buy my book. I don't give a shit. I make my money doing consulting anyway. And I'm not working for any, particular candidate right now to begin with. So I'm working for like local city council candidates. So I can sit there and chime about him, but no one cares. I'm telling you this because this is the good for the movement and the party. They're out. Anyone sitting there saying Jane Timken or Eric Greitens are based or MAGA or supporting America First, they're either misinformed or they're lying to you because they either work for them or or have a side company works for them.
Yeah, I mean Timken, she claimed to not take a side in that race, but her husband donated, I think, $10,000 at least to Gonzalez's campaign. And then Timken, I know that she basically pulled strings behind the scenes to sabotage the opposition.
Pedro, she did everything to make sure Anthony Gonzalez was a congressman.
Yeah.
Everything.
So publicly, it's like I'm not taking a side. My husband's going to donate 10 grand, but that's beside the point. I'm going to make sure that no one can help Anthony Gonzalez's opposition, but I'm not taking a side. I'm as MAGA as they come. I mean, that's Timken. It's funny because Timken and Noam are kind of similar in that sense. Publicly, really sweet and nice and like soft-spoken, but in reality, calculating.
Yeah, but she's one of those people who also probably could never answer a tough question like, how many illegal immigrants are we bringing in per year? She would never answer. She's now running her second statewide commercial 18 months before Election Day about being against illegal immigration, which is fine. That's okay. I'm against it too. But how are you about the bigger issues? And she does that so she can avoid those kinds of questions.
Yeah. Well, before we get into the last thing, I think that point can't be stressed enough, is that the more someone is portrayed as being MAGA and the more closely they connect themselves with Trump in their campaign advertising, instead of substance, like you're saying, instead of actually telling you, here are the items I believe in, and here is proof that I've thought through these things. Instead, they're just saying, I'm a fighter, I'm MAGA, I'm going to defend Trump's legacy. Those people are, ironically, the ones that you should be the most suspicious of. They're probably also the most vacuous. And if you would ask them that question, like, do you support an immigration moratorium? It's almost certain that they would equivocate and waffle and basically just find a way to not take a hard stance on any hard issues.
Right.
So
they'd be the Christie Nomas of their candidate.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm reading, by the way, the questions. I don't know any